lose footage?
No, we didn't lose the footage. Instead of unpausing, I stopped the recording, so I just have to mash two clips together
Oh,
now.
okay.
So, back from the break.
Yeah.
Anything else from that you want to talk about that was, a bit of a change from before and everything like that? We mentioned Weak Knees and Odium Garden, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, it's talking about those two songs. You have Weak Knees, which is like a sludgy doom song, and then you have Odium Garden, which is a noise song with. I mean, it just becomes like just a harsher and harsher wall of noise. And then we wanted to write technical songs, which is actually that kind of plays into us taking really like a long time to write the album and a long time in the studio. And because we haven't played a show since the album came out, there's a couple songs that we have not played live. One of which being For the Wages of Life, which really is a special song to both of us. But, what I find so special about it is uh, Sam had that first riff, and we knew that like okay, it did call for like a blasty thing, but I was just like every song we've written, I was following along to what he was playing, and you know, by trade, I'm not a technical drummer. Like I'm not. Like when we started Earthworm 9 years ago, um, it was because we had Area 52 before, where Area 52 wanted to we really wanted to kind of go the direction of what Jeff liked with Dream Theater and Megadeth and stuff, but you know if I don't have the fluidity to play with Megadeth finesse, will that old band we'd have maybe 4 or 5 songs that have that like fast metal gallop. And when it came to Earthworm, just in all of the prior years before writing structured songs, we would just groove. And when we got to songs like Conditioned was cooking for years before we recorded it. Um, Songs like Conditioned and For the Wages and Purgatorial and Duh as well are technical songs. And you know, yes, me and Sam are gonna put what we love to hear in a song, but then also with the discipline of being a songwriter, um, I found myself at this point where okay, the song actually does call for technical playing. It calls for you know blasting to kind of be synced in with the riff, and it calls for you know actually For the Wages is one tempo throughout. Most of the songs on change tempos a bit, but For the Wages is one tempo, but it's just this onslaught where you have blasting, you have really consistent like 16th note stuff with the hands. There's a noise part in the middle. Oh, and even before the noise part, um, this is a new toy that I got before like during the pandemic was my sampler pad.
Okay.
And when we talk about the solo music, that's really gonna kind of be one of my secret weapons. But
I'm assuming that's where you can, take like samples from other songs, movies, and stuff, and kind of.
well, yeah, like you can like it's really well, kind of like how your mixer over there has eight
Those buttons, yeah.
MPC style buttons. These are rubber pads that you can trigger from hitting it with a drumstick, and you can just load on sound clips. It comes with default sound clips, and then it comes with like 808 drum sounds. It has like ethnic drum sounds. It has like all sorts of drum stock drum sounds that come with the Roland product. Just like if you had a Roland electric kit, it would be
Right.
those same sounds. but then it also has a USB input where you could put in a flash drive and import sounds.
Right.
And
Import your own sounds.
and getting that, like, I was able to, if we were playing shows, I had like interludes ready for the old songs, and then I was loading up all sorts of new sounds for the Duh songs. One of which on For the Wages is I have this keyboard app on my iPad, and one day during the pandemic, I just was messing around with it, just doing drony noises. And Sam and I, we were already playing, Wages at practice, and this felt like it had the vibe of it, but I wasn't doing it with the intention of this is the part it will be in this song. I was sitting at home on my couch. I think it was Christmas Eve or something, and I just came up with that like that little drawn out drony noise in the middle of For the Wages of Life, and then that really kind of I think that gave that song like a flavor, really, because from there, in addition to triggering that noise, like hitting the pad and having all 3 minutes of that noise go, and For the Wages is probably like a 9 minute song, by the way, but I was playing like subs and claps and stuff, like putting that in an Earthworm song. I've always wanted to do that, but I wasn't going to do that in a cheesy way. But I was doing, electronic kick drums and claps to. I mean, again, it doesn't sound like Imagine Dragons. It sounded just like a lo-fi trap beat over a noise section.
Right.
And I mean, for years, that song's working title was BM. BM. Yeah, I mean, I know there's the Earthworm meaning, but really we just called it that for black metal.
Gotcha.
And that's just such a monolithic, long song. We really had to nail the execution, even in practice. And, um, when we recorded the album, we actually were. This is different than every album we've done before. We did our takes separately. Like, I did drums, and then Sam recorded his bass over the drums, rather than Sam recording bass while I'm recording drums, and then he redid his bass to get it tight. Like, there was a scratch bass for when I did but it was literally just Sam just recording to the metronome and me playing to that recording without him here in the room. So for a lot of those 9 minute songs, um, I'm glad that the songs sound like how we wrote them, but I know that being the drummer, it was quite a challenge to record songs that are 6 minutes plus without a live. I mean, again, Earthworm's just the two of us, but without a live person playing the bass, or in other bands like guitar or something.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So now we can kind of transition into the solo music and stuff. You told me you're gonna start focusing on that. Do you have stuff in the works already? Do you have ideas that you want to put into works? Tell us what we can expect in the future and everything.
Yeah. I mean, just to, get it out there, I'd say as far as expecting Earthworm things in the future, I think that'll just truly come when the two of us want to do it. And, you know, in me doing solo music, you know, that's not a it's not putting the Earthworm coffin in the ground. Right. It's not even making the coffin for Earthworm. It just really honestly is me knowing that I, have musical ambitions, and I have, you know, art that I want to still create, and I've done it one way for all this time. And in regards to making music by myself, um, I found myself wanting to do this out of necessity, to really be honest.
Gotcha.
You know, the intention and the plan when we finished was to promote Duh. So because we have not, um, I've spent last year really kind of at odds with, where I want to go musically. I was really kind of waiting around to hit the ground running for Earthworm with all the preparation we had done. And because we did not get to do that, I just didn't want to continue to. It was going the direction of wasting away.
Right.
It really honestly was kind of feeling like if I don't have if Earthworm is inactive, then how can I be creative? I even as of right now talking about this, I don't want to join someone's band,
Right.
and I really don't want to start a band. Um, and in all these years of Sam and I, playing outside of Maryland, what I've found is all the diversity of solo acts we have played with. And while I do love a lot of those bands, what I've found with a few of them is there's a little bit of an awkwardness to being a solo noise artist. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think for me to step out on my own, I want to. I don't want to necessarily just stare at pedals, and
Right.
that's a lot of kind of this style of music. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just, you know, because I'm actually going out as my name rather than coming up with a solo name,
Yeah.
I think it'll be, I want it to be true to who I am. Like if I'm putting, because I'm putting my name on my music, I know that there's going to be room for it not sounding like one thing. Um, but I have, you know, I mean, especially with how much we talked about Earthworm, I can't not have uh, Earthworm DNA in what I do.
Right.
So a lot of the electronic parts of Duh were really the direction that um, a lot of demos I had cooking were going, and you know, with noise noise demos, I found that you can create so many of them. Like our writing process for formal songs was definitely having the structure of the formal song established, but then with the noise parts, as far as I'm concerned, I could have hundreds of demos, but I would comb through really kind of, and there's definitely a bad habit when you get into like recording a demo off the rip and you don't title it, or you can do like a funny title. Like with that iPad app I was telling you about, I've definitely got sounds that are 3/7/2021. You know, like it'll just be sounds where I have to click it and know what it is, but then I would make like silly titles for them too. And I found that I've stockpiled a lot of sounds that I want to flesh out into songs. I mean, I love that this is mid January, early mid January, and we're at this point talking about it because, you know, I'm already, I already have shows booked, shows that we're probably going to be announced in a couple days from
Nice.
this being recorded. And, you know, if people that know me know that I really like to plan things out, and I definitely am, but a lot of the music side is honestly improvisational. There
Okay.
are things that will be structured, like I'm going to play Odium Garden. Like there's going to be a few Earthworm songs that I'll play, but then there's also like improv where if I come up with it's funny to describe it. I hope I can maybe, depending on when this interview comes out, I hope I can give you
Fairly
some.
soon,
Oh,
probably
good.
like next week or
Then I'll
something
give you
like
like
that.
pictures of maybe my drums from the practice space so we can have some context. Because all these years of me having Earthworm and having bands and stuff, um, I I've always played on a drum set, hi hats and
Right.
cymbals, pedals, and what I'm finding with what I want to do now is if I'm going out by myself, I'm not gonna. I don't want to take long to set up and break down, like, and what I've
Makes sense.
found is to make this crazy electronic noise music. I can have a sampler set up, that rolling pad where I can do E drums and trigger samples. I have a Korg K oscillator, which is a miniature synth pad, maybe about the size of the Sphere of God sticker. And I also have this is a recent purchase. I have a Moog Sub Fatty keyboard right in the middle, and then I have you can call it Slipknot style, but you could also compare it to like other percussion players where I've got two floor toms. This is a Slipknot callback. I've got a 13-inch Joey snare.
Okay.
That was like my favorite snare for years because it's just like such a loud metal pang pang kind of snare.
Right.
And then like a china and a bell and the mounted tambourine, like the one that uh, I use on condition. And what I'm finding with that is I can trigger an electronic beat, loop it, and uh, either write some riffs on the keyboard or play more shit along the drums or trigger some other samples from the Roland. Like I can really kind of mix and match what I'm doing sound wise, and what I'm hoping to accomplish is, at least right now, I can do an improv section of the show where it's seamless, and then I could also play like the loop based Earthworm songs like Odium Garden or Butt Hash or something like that.
Gotcha. So that was pretty much all I had was what to expect with the upcoming music and stuff like that. I'm assuming they follow you on like Instagram if they want to know about like the upcoming shows and the upcoming releases.
Yeah, and that's actually what makes it so I think kind of streamlined is because it's my name. I don't want to be lazy about this, but I don't want to make like a music page for me. Like my
Right.
name's my name. I'll make a Bandcamp for sure, but I don't want to make like a Trip Cahouet. official band. Like, no, like,
Right.
fuck that. Like, and what I can say is, well, I'll say this here is I've got 2 shows confirmed. I'm playing my first show on my own at Madam's Oddities in Fredericksburg.
Okay.
They do a lot of like punk shows and hardcore shows
Nice.
uh, in, I guess, like a back room of this gift shop. I'm glad it's in the back room
Yeah.
because I'm I I bought I bought an amp from a friend of mine yesterday, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like rattle all the jars and shit.
Yeah, right.
Just ruin her
Break a whole bunch of shit.
shop. We're not the first show there.
Oh yeah.
And then that show is February 10th. It's in Virginia, and then March 30th. And I made sure to do this after St. Thrashricks and, I mean, Maryland Day. But for sure, like, I don't want to step on Critter's toes with doing a show in Baltimore, a metal show in Baltimore. But at the Depot, it'll be Emerge a Tyrant, me, Modern Fuzz, who's this great instrumental prog metal band, and Moss Sexy.
Nice.
If you don't follow Moss Sexy, you probably follow Dan. Or Dan likely knows about you, or he will. Dan's a great guy.
Okay.
And getting back into shows, I know what I'm doing is going to be different. When I'm leaning on electronics and I'm leaning on noise and I'm leaning on a lot more like dance beats, and I don't think I'm going to go glow stick with it, but in being a lot more electronic leaning, I will always have that Earthworm bit and I will always have that metal edge. But I like having the freedom to play with other bands. Like, yes, playing with Emerge a Tyrant. Like, of course, this is going to be familiar. It's going to be playing with metal bands. And I know that, just locally, yeah, fuck it. I mean, really, all these shows will likely be just me picking up where Earthworm left off, and that includes all the promoters, all the other bands we've played with, all past connections we've got, you know, and I'm totally fine with, if it means a metal person, like a strictly metal promoter that used to book Earthworm would tell me I'm fine with being told no from promoters if I had $1. Uh, but I am not opposed to trying to play Philly again or something, playing whatever place we Earthworm used to play a lot, and getting some getting recommended. Well, we're not going to put you on this death metal show, but there is this underground. There's this like rave club down the road that I think you would do well at. I mean that's a whole different paradigm of shows I've never done. Like you could do like 2-hour sets or shit like that
Yeah.
where I don't want to necessarily call myself a DJ, and I don't even want to like mess with how that word has been turned on its head. I mean, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not gonna be like Skrillex is not like I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. I don't fucking care. I just want to at least um I want to still be in the music world. I know that if I'm being really real, like there's nothing I love in the world more than Earthworm.
Hell yeah.
I fought for Earthworm to have what we have the hardest. Um, and I made every kind of action possible to have Earthworm be a thing that goes forever and ever and ever. Earthworm Von Doom is 2 people. So, in doing music, by myself. I just know that, like, kind of what I was saying about the survival bit. Um, I don't know. I feel like this is a drastic example, but even when Ozzy was doing all of his solo shit, he still loves Sabbath. He's still Ozzy from Sabbath. And I find that um or like when Slash has done music outside of Guns N' Roses, he's still wearing the fucking top hat every show. Like, he's Slash. And I I'm not comparing I'm not the Slash of drums, but 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 I also have, you know, Earthworm's my love. And until the day one of us isn't here on Earth, there's unfinished business to do as Earthworm.
Oh yeah.
And at least being 30 years old and, you know, wanting to break the stigma of musicians who find themselves in a now what scenario, because there's plenty of musicians that do. I just want to do this my way and in a unique way, a way that's makes me happy, and playing shows that are fun. And um, yeah, I mean, I think the mission statement of me doing shows. This is rambling for sure, but
No, you're good, dude. All makes sense.
yeah, the the big thing is I'm excited to do different kind of music from Earthworm, but I'm also um, picking up where we left off. And when that day comes that Earthworm is active again, there's more work to be done.
Gotcha. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any like final shout outs, anything like that? Because I'm all out in the notes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, shout outs. I kept referring to Mike because of the Slip Meat video, and Odium are great friends of ours. They Mike and AJ, like, they started doing bands and shit. Uh, really the same time we did. Like, they were maybe about a year ahead of me in high school, and uh, they had like different deathcore bands and shit, like, kind of all throughout the years. And 7 years ago, they were in a more serious, like, death grind band called Gorebore. You might have seen their stickers around.
That sounds familiar.
If their stickers haven't all been like covered up, or because I mean, not like
No,
no,
I
it's
know
like
what you mean though.
yeah.
'Cause, like I threw a sticker up in the bathroom at the auto bar, and like a week later, there's like more stickers.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like it's just someone else trying to throw their thing up. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not like tagging over someone's shit like graffiti wise.
exactly. And Mike and AJ, they had Odium as a side band from Gorebore, just for fun, which really is just Gorebore was Mike, AJ, and their bassist, vocal friend Nick, and so Odium was just the two of them.
Oh
And um, I found that, like, when we had a position to like really put on DIY shows, because we could jump on shows, we had no problem finding shows, but we also found ourselves in a position where we could book a show, put our friends' bands on it, and it would go great. And Odium was always a go-to band for that. And actually similar to what we're doing,
hell yeah.
Mike and AJ had a podcast. I believe they still have it, but they've got a podcast, and uh, maybe one day I'll be interview seasoned. But this is my first interview in like 2 years, and because of how the Podunk Punks, their podcast used to be, um, I mean, dude, we would be drinking rum during we'd be ripping bongs and drinking rum and shit, like so.
We have yet to get to that stage. Eventually, you know.
Yeah, we'd like fire up dabs and just all this sort of shit to do those interviews. And
How long ago were those interviews? Because like YouTube back then, you could really like do a lot of shit like
it
that.
was on
Now,
YouTube. Well, almost all of those were audio only.
oh, okay. Because I was gonna say like like weed channels back in the day, super popular. Like that one dude, I can't remember, Custom Grow 420, I think is his fucking name. That dude is just like,
Or like B Reels, like smoke boxing. I mean,
yeah,
obviously he's
yeah,
B Real from Cypress Hill. He had to
yeah.
like eat a lot of shit to, be able to be in a comfortable place to be singing and talking about weed. Well, you always just sing about weed, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
But like still though, you see like, podcasts will get like demonetized. Like there's this content creator, Dope is Yola, and he's had his shit deleted like endless times just, because they'll smoke and, promote like weed companies and stuff like that. And it's just like it is, it's right now, I ain't got to worry about shit. We could fucking, we could bring a fucking horse in here. It wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Which is nice having that like early platform because people always say like, it's the early days. Because like honestly, this is the best time to, because I can talk about whatever. We can say fuck whenever we
Yeah.
want, smoke whenever we want. But like, them sponsorship deals start coming in, I might take my word back, be like,
Oh yeah, and I get that too. But yeah, Odium for sure, and then two artists not from Maryland. Clara Noctis from Florida. They're kind of they call themselves like Scrams core.
okay,
So I know Zach, the singer, and Josh, his brother, the drummer. They years ago, literally from every time we played Florida, we befriended this band called their old band called the Cahouet Tape. They broke up, but for years they were our best friends in Florida, and that band was like very Dillinger influenced for sure.
okay.
But Zach's favorite band is Dillinger, and they're super okay that they like wore that on their sleeves so much that was really kind of they sounded like Dillinger meets Fall Out Troy,
Gotcha.
but like sicker. And then the band broke up, and Zach, and then eventually Josh, because I mean they're brothers, but Clara Noctis found Zach first, and well, they were like all friends. So Clara Noctis is kind of like Deaf Heaven-y, sort of, where it's like bonkers, like odd meter music, but then like the riffs and the blasting is very like major chord death metal. I hope they don't hear me like talk. I'm not talking shit. Like straight up, they just like are a unique band. Not even just unique to Florida. They're a unique band, and I'm really, really happy and proud that Zach and Josh, did this without missing a beat.
Hell yeah.
Because I mean, we've taken Callaway Tape on the road. They were definitely getting traction in Florida, and I was trying to get people to fuck with them, in North Carolina and Eastern Shore. Eastern Shore, that's just a hard sell, but but I did bring these guys all the way up to the Eastern Shore.
Shit.
Salisbury, fucking Salisbury, and then yeah, Canned, our best noise friend, all the way down in North Carolina, and uh, what they do is they put a microphone in a Pringles can, run it through, depending on the rig, because Ty 9 times out of 10 just runs out of like the simplest little line 6 bullshit rig, but cranks the fuck out of the distortion, and the microphone the microphone's
Right.
in the Pringles can, and they're either yelling into the can or they're beating it with a drumstick, and it's really just, I mean, every show has always been, at the root of it, just Ty making noise by putting a microphone in a Pringles can. But greater than that is just like Ty's delivery and the humor, and I mean their confidence is always present. I mean, Ty started doing canned, I think, when they were like 17, 18, under 21 for sure, because
Okay.
I got them show uh, at our favorite venue in Frederick, Maryland, a place called Guido's Speakeasy.
I cannot remember where I've heard a story
About
about Guido's.
Earthworm and Guido's.
No, I've just heard like
Okay.
another band talk about that. I swear to God, I can't. It might have been Deep Rest. I can't remember, but I swear some band is
Do you want
told a unique story on here.
Do you want to hear the Earthworm story?
It might as well.
Yes. Okay. So to settle it once and for all, because the venue's fucking dead, and as far as I'm concerned, Earthworm's not playing any shows.
Describe what the where you played at was like, because that will help me cement.
Oh,
in my mind
absolutely,
whether or
absolutely.
not I've heard of this place.
So you've been to Cafe 611, right?
I haven't been yet, but I know exactly what you're talking
All right.
about.
Well, Market Street's, a vertical street that goes through the middle of Frederick,
Right.
and then 611 is right on the side of the street, and there's like side streets, right off of Market Street, and in between. So like the back loading area of 611, there's a little side street,
Okay.
and on the other side of that side street was Guido's Speakeasy.
Right.
Guido's was like a smaller tavern with like a space in the back where bands have played shows. Like it was mostly be like doom bands and
Right.
crusty bands and shit like that. There was like a dartboard and a PA system. I'll get into the quality of the PA system, and I know there's some charm to that, but I'll get into the story. They would put on these DIY shows. There's this promoter / kind of just doom socialite from Frederick who would really kind of be the guy that puts on shows at Guido's. And it was just easy because you could just hit him up. Hey, can my band do a show at Guido's? Yeah. And then, boom, you have a show at Guido's. It's a bar where you have guaranteed turnout, especially if it's the weekend.
Right.
And not for nothing, their wings were very good. Their wings maybe had to run off stage and poop one time. Their wings are very good. And we played there once before, and it was fine. The only complaint about that show was Ty Canned was with us, and Canned was under 21. Canned didn't order any drinks, but because Canned was in the venue, Canned was kicked out after they played. But the second time we played Guido's Speakeasy, it was the first date of our tour with Exemptus. That tour wrapped around from Frederick to Pittsburgh to Buffalo, Toronto, up through to Quebec City, and then down through like New Hampshire, New York City, Eastern PA, Towson.
Gotcha.
So we play this first show at. Actually, I'll name off all the bands that played because a few of these bands are still kicking today. So this tour was an Earthworm and Exemptus co-headliner, but in almost all these places, some local bands just drew so well that one local band would be the last band, and then Earthworm Exemptus were second and third, or you would flip-flop.
Right.
But the Maryland dates, one of us closed one of the dates, and one of us closed the other date. We closed the Frederick date, and it went Earthworm, Exemptus, the Collaterals, who are now Polluted Tongues.
Okay. I know Polluted Tongues.
It's literally the three of them plus their longtime friend Rick on bass. You know Rick James. Like literally, his name is Rick James.
Gotcha.
Like he's fucking sick of the bass, and he plays in Emerge a Tyrant. He also plays in Exemptus,
Okay.
but he was like high school friends with Andy, JD, and Ryan. So
Cool.
that's how. So the band formerly the Collaterals, now Polluted Tongues, but
Gotcha.
it was us, Exemptus, Collaterals, Nuclear Tomb. JD was drumming for both. That was a double header of JD playing the drums. Salute. Um, No Void, who were kind of like hardcore-ish. They haven't been around in a while, but they were great. I liked them. And Odium opening. So you've got 6 bands crammed in this little tavern in Frederick, this biker tavern. And uh, Dustin wasn't there. Like, he was our point guy for the show. And he like went on tour with another band, or I don't fucking care. But he he went and did something else. So I was really left to run this, and me and Sam were left to run this entire show ourselves. And that meant kind of just setting up the PA and clearing room and just all these sorts of things when you run your own show. Nothing we haven't done before, but we got thrust into doing that. And the show goes on. By the time it gets to us, we're doing our thing. Like, we legitimately are just doing our thing. And it was actually a really long and great set of ours. Like, really just great energy, and like, we were just nailing all the songs. Play Slip Meat last. I used to do this stunt in the middle of Slip Meat where I would, like, because there's the bridge of the song where Sam and I would play on like the toms, and Sam would play the riff, just do 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 do, like, and live we would expand that so long. We would do that for like 20 minutes sometimes, where Sam's doing the riff and I would walk around the whole venue hitting the floor tom. It's just the basic, most tribal, just caveman little rhythm.
Right.
And oh my God, I've gone out the door in venues doing that. Like, I would go up and down like the elevator in at one time we played University of Maryland. I went up and down the elevator doing that. Like, dude, I've loved doing that. I did that at Guido's Speakeasy. And the bartender / bouncer / wannabe ROTC head ass Skippy Jr. whole bitch
hall monitor ass.
Oh, whole bitch made cunt.
Shit, we're well past 10 minutes. We can say whatever we want.
He fucking is like, you can't do that. Like, I'm literally like running around the bar. I'm like, doom, 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 doom. And I'm doing it in front, the people in the bar are like Andy and Ryan, like the Polluted Tongues guys are in the bar. I'm not doing this in front of patrons. They're like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like everyone in there knew who the fuck I am.
Yeah, they were down.
It's our show. I set the whole show up, and hall monitor tells me Shaggy tells me no, and I'm playing the beat. Pause, and I say, fuck off. I keep playing, run back to the venue, because the venue portion is like separated by a hallway from the bar. Shaggy, he went like full like arrest first, ask questions later. He kicked me out of the venue.
Jesus.
During Slip Me. Like, he legit kicked me out of the fucking venue.
God damn.
Dude, I am very proud of not only Sam, but all of our friends' bands and all of our fans at that show, because 1, they all had my back, and 2, I mean, I diffused the situation because there was 50 of us.
Right.
And there was a hall monitor and the owner of the bar.
Yeah, like, say kaputs to your fucking bar, guy.
No not
You know,
no.
these bar stools would look really nice in my kitchen.
Oh, I am glad that I was raised. I mean, yeah,
Right.
sure. I told someone to fuck off, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
took it
yeah.
like saying insulting a man's
Yeah.
ship is worse than insulting his mother. Like he
Yeah, right, right.
he treated it like I said I fucked his mom.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
like no, I didn't. Like like bro, I just told you to fuck off because I'm playing my show and you're not about to disrupt me doing it.
Yeah.
And I even made like a fake apology. That picked up attention like crazy.
Damn.
It's the only like true virality Earthworm ever had.
Right.
Where, because we obviously left the venue, went right to Pittsburgh. My grandparents lived in Pittsburgh, so I had a place to stay. So go to sleep in Pittsburgh, 4:50 in the morning. Wake up 1 in the afternoon to a shitload of notifications, shitload of
Yeah.
people sharing. Largely, it's because Mike and AJ were there and they filmed me getting kicked out and posted it
Right.
on the Podunk Punks, and so it got a lot of traction. Every show on that tour, people were asking me about it, and I couldn't thank it enough. I didn't plan it, but it was a
I was gonna say they
moment
say
that
all publicity's good.
oh
So
dude, I mean, it really just was like the kind of thing where the venue posted about it the next day, and they're like, they were trying to like offer their side, and naturally, all of their demographic are like, okay, we're in Westminster, so uh, you this audience knows what I'm talking about. Frederick boomers,
yeah.
like this is 2018, so you know who the fuck they voted for, kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anytime they don't have to know anything of the story. They just like read
Oh,
some shit
they
and are
were
like,
calling us disrespectful kids and
yeah,
assholes and all this shit. I'm like,
weren't even there. Weren't
like,
even there.
cool, bro. Even the
Yeah.
promoter wasn't there, so.
Yeah, exactly, dude. This shit's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was 6 years ago. I like to think that since that time, I've grown the most because, sure, I mean, I'm still talking shit about him, but still talking shit about the whole incident. But I've learned how to, you know, actually, I don't know what I've learned. No, what I have learned is how to, like, definitely, like, kind of have the liability talk with venues. Like, hey, by the way, during my set, I do this.
Right.
I just didn't think to. I don't know. It was never a problem. So once that was a problem, from every show afterwards, I would tell them, hey, I'm going to walk around the venue and play my floor tom. Is this cool? Or I wouldn't even ask if this is cool. If they were to say it's not cool,
Right.
we'd figure that out. But yeah, fucking, it helped me be a lot more professional with having like pre-show talks. I mean, we're not Guar, we're not spraying
Yeah.
a place with blood. And then I think, you know, especially going into doing shows by myself, it helps me to like not be impulsive and getting mad if something's annoying me during a show, but at the same time, I was literally interrupted.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's people that, like, he's lucky this wasn't like a elevated stage because I could have just.
Oh yeah.
This is Sparta,
Yeah,
bro.
right.
Like,
Any mic stand, anything. Boop.
yeah, like the kind of shit where, I've treated it like a growing experience, and you know, bigger picture is that not so much. It's a little bar in Frederick.
Right. Now, the back area that you played in, was it like kind of run down ish?
I'd say it was. I mean, despite metal bands playing back there, I'd say it was well kept.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is
Like
because
wooden panels and a dartboard, kind of.
but But there wasn't like any like issues or nothing like leaks, foundation, anything like
The
that.
structure, no. The PA system and their ramen noodle looking wires, yes.
Yeah, because like when earlier when I was like I might have had a band tell a story. I don't know if it was that specific venue, but I've definitely like seen the name around, and I feel like it's been brought up before because I probably mentioned a show of another band there. But it's getting close to the time you
I know.
mentioned. So
I'm
is there anything else you wanted to end with?
man. I mean that the Guido story came out of thin air, so I'm glad to actually. I think that's the perfect way to sum it up.
Oh yeah,
I'm back.
definitely.
Trip is back. I'm back, and come come to a show. Um, be if you liked Earthworm, you'll like what I'm doing. If you didn't like Earthworm, come check out what I'm doing because it's not Earthworm.
Right. Gotcha, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Dude, thank you for having me on, man.
Hell yeah.